Welcome to another deep dive. Today we're going to be looking at The Giver by Lois Lowry.
Oh, yeah. The Giver.
Have you read this one?
I have, yeah. It's one of those books that really sticks with you.
It's one of those ones that I feel like almost everyone has had to read in school at some point.
Yeah, I think it's a pretty common choice for middle school or high school.
Yeah, for sure. So for listeners who maybe haven't read it in a while or maybe didn't have to read it for school, it's about this seemingly utopian society where everything is, very controlled and perfect on the surface.
Right. Everything runs smoothly. There's no crime, no poverty, no pain. But like you said, it's all very controlled.
Right. And this control comes at a pretty steep price, right? They've basically eliminated individual choice, emotions, even memories in this quest for like this perfect order and stability.
Yeah, and this concept of sameness that's really at the core of the book. It's not just about, everyone wearing the same clothes or having the same haircuts. It's much deeper than that.
It's like they've traded the full richness of human experience for this kind of like predictable, sanitized existence.
Exactly. They've created this world where everything is predictable and safe, but at the cost of, what really makes us human.
And so today we're going to sort of dig into all of that, how this community is structured, their unique rituals, and all the thought-provoking questions that the book raises. So to kick things off, I think it's really interesting how Lowry kind of slowly reveals this dystopian underbelly of this supposedly perfect world.
Yeah.
At first glance, it seems idyllic, but then you start to see the cracks.
Oh, yeah, definitely. It's like she lures you in with this sense of, peace and harmony, and then gradually you realize that something's not quite right.
Like that whole concept of release, they talk about it as this peaceful transition, but the way they describe it is so detached and emotionless.
Yeah, it's chilling. There's no grief, no sadness. It's just like, okay, this person has been released and we move on.
Right, exactly. And that kind of gets to the whole idea that even language is very carefully controlled in this community.
Yeah, there's this great example during Asher's ceremony of 12 when he's being assigned his lifelong role. He accidentally says snack when he means smack.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
And, it seems like a harmless little slip-up, but the chief elder uses it as this opportunity to illustrate how closely they observe and correct any deviation from the norm.
Right, and it's like they're not even allowing for these kind of like innocent mistakes or, just the natural variation in how people speak.
Exactly. They're manufacturing conformity even down to their language.
It's pretty unsettling when you think about it.
Yeah.
And it makes you wonder, what else have they suppressed or sanitized in their quest for this perfect order?
Well, that's where Jonas, our protagonist, comes into play. He's the one who kind of throws a wrench into the whole system.
Right, because he's selected for this very special, very secretive role, the receiver of memory.
Yeah, and this role is treated with like a mix of reverence and fear, because the receiver is the only one who holds the memories of the past, the memories of the world for sameness.
It's like he's been handed this key to like a hidden archive of human experience.
Exactly. And it's not just like facts and information, it's the full spectrum of emotions, sensations, everything that they've chosen to forget.
And, we talked about how everything is so controlled and predictable in this community, but the receiver's role is anything but predictable, right? He has to deal with all this knowledge, all these emotions that no one else can even comprehend.
Yeah, it's a huge burden. And it's not a role that just anyone can handle. The receiver needs certain qualities: intelligence, integrity, courage, and this thing they call the capacity to see beyond.
Capacity to see beyond.
Yeah.
That's a really intriguing phrase.
It is. It suggests that there's something more, something deeper than what the community allows for.
Like they're all kind of living in this limited version of reality, and the receiver is the only one who can glimpse the bigger picture.
Exactly, and that's what makes Jonas's journey so fascinating and so unsettling. He's stepping outside the confines of this collective amnesia and into a world of knowledge and experience that's both exhilarating and terrifying.
It's like he's been given these glasses that allow him to see the world in full color while everyone else is stuck in shades of gray.
Exactly, and with that awareness comes a whole new set of challenges and ethical dilemmas that he has to grapple with. So Jonas starts receiving these memories from the giver, right? And it's not just like, reading a history book or something.
But that's not just information.
Yeah, it's like this full-on sensory experience.
He's like thrown into these memories, feeling everything.
Exactly. He's experiencing the world before sameness, the world with all its colors and emotions and sensations.
Things that he can't even fathom, right?
Right? Like imagine a world without color, without the feeling of sunshine or snow or the rush of sledding, down a hill.
Yeah, it's mind-boggling to think about.
And that's what Jonas is grappling with. He's being bombarded with these incredible memories, both the beautiful and the painful.
Right, because the giver isn't just showing him the good stuff, right? He's showing him the whole spectrum of human experience.
Exactly. He's showing him war loss, heartbreak, things that would be unimaginable in Jonas's community.
And that has to take a toll, right? I mean,
Yeah.
imagine being the only person in your entire world who knows about these things, who carries the weight of all that history.
Oh, definitely. It's a huge burden. And on top of that, he has to deal with all these unique rules that come with being the receiver.
Oh, right, like he's exempt from the rules about rudeness.
Yeah, he can ask anyone anything, which, might sound kind of cool, but...
He's a kid.
Exactly. And he's suddenly got this, weight of knowledge that he can't even talk about with anyone.
It would be so isolating.
Totally. And then there's the rule about lying. He's actually allowed to lie.
Which is unheard of in his community.
Right, because honesty is a cardinal rule for everyone else.
It's like the community is black and white, and he's suddenly seeing all these shades of gray.
Exactly. And this new understanding, it starts to affect how he sees everything, even everyday things.
Oh yeah, like when he tries to share that memory of elephants with his sister Lily.
Oh yeah, that's a great example. He
Right.
wants her to experience this amazing thing, but she just dismisses it as a made-up story.
It's heartbreaking because there's this huge gap in their understanding, right?
Yeah.
She's trapped in this limited world, and he's seen something more.
And that gap just keeps widening as he receives more memories. Remember that game of war that the kids play?
Oh yeah.
Well, after he receives those memories of actual war, it takes on a whole new meaning for him.
Right, it's suddenly not so innocent anymore.
It makes you think about how easy it is to sanitize violence, to distance ourselves from the real consequences.
And it's not just violence, it's also love. They talk about love in the community,
But it's not real love.
it's like this watered down version of it.
Exactly. They don't have the capacity for the kind of deep, passionate love that Jonas is experiencing through the memories.
So he's seeing the cracks in this supposedly perfect society, and it's eating away at him.
Yeah, and then he finds out the truth about release.
Oh, wow.
It's not this peaceful transition like they've always said.
It's something much darker.
Much darker. And that's when Jonas realizes he can't stay silent anymore.
He has to do something.
He has to. And it's not just about him anymore. There's Gabriel, the new child, who's not thriving.
The one they're going to release.
Yeah, Jonas has developed this bond with him, and he can't bear to see another innocent life just extinguished.
So now it's about saving Gabriel, too.
It's about breaking free from this system that's so dehumanizing.
So he decides to escape.
He does. He risks everything to try to reach elsewhere, this place that exists only in the memories.
It's a huge gamble.
It is. But he's driven by this desperate hope for something more, for a world where people can truly live and love and experience life in all its fullness.
Jonas had just made that huge decision to escape with Gabriel, to risk everything for this unknown elsewhere.
Yeah, and it's like stepping out of this tightly controlled world into this vast unknown.
Right, like he's literally leaving behind everything he's ever known.
And it's not just the physical journey that's dangerous, it's also a psychological journey.
Oh, totally, because he's having to rely on these fading memories that the giver transmitted to him.
Yeah, those memories are all he has to guide him.
And he's got this little baby with him too, right?
Yeah.
He's responsible for Gabriel's life as well as his own.
Oh yeah, the stakes are incredibly high. It's not just about his own survival anymore.
It's like this test of his courage and his compassion.
Exactly. And as they travel further away from the community, something really interesting starts to happen.
Oh, what's that?
Well, Jonas starts to remember things that weren't transmitted by the giver.
Like from his own past?
Yeah, like little snippets of memories from his childhood before he entered the community.
Wow, so it's like those memories were buried deep down, but they weren't completely erased.
It's like those core pieces of himself, those individual memories, they were still there just waiting to be unearthed.
That's pretty powerful when you think about it. It's like this testament to the resilience of the human spirit.
Totally.
Yeah.
Even in a world that's designed to suppress individuality, something essential remains.
Yeah, as they're traveling, Jonas is also, using up those memories that the giver gave him, right?
Yeah.
Like he's giving them to Gabriel to help him survive.
Yeah, it's like he's scattering these seeds of memory and emotion out into the world.
Almost like he's leaving a trail for others to follow.
Yeah, it's a beautiful image. And then there's this really powerful moment.
What happens?
Well, they're exhausted and freezing, and they're starting to lose hope, and then Jonas hears something.
What does he hear?
Music.
Music, like real music.
Yeah, like people singing.
Yeah.
It's this faint sound, but it's unmistakable.
Wow, that must have been incredible after living in a world without music.
Oh, yeah, it's like this beacon of hope, this sign that elsewhere might actually exist.
That there might be a place where people are free to create and express themselves.
Exactly, and that's where the book ends.
It leaves you hanging.
It does. But in a good way, I think.
Yeah, because it makes you think about what happens next, right?
Yeah.
Do they make it to elsewhere? What's waiting for them there?
And even if they don't reach that specific destination, the journey itself is so transformative.
Right. It's about Jonas breaking free from this restrictive system and reclaiming his humanity.
And about the power of hope, the belief that something better is possible, even when everything seems lost.
And I think that's ultimately what makes The Giver such a powerful and enduring story. It's a story that stays with you long after you finish reading it.
Oh, absolutely. It makes you question the world around you, the choices we make as individuals and as a society.
And it reminds us that even in the darkest of times, there's always hope for change.
Always. And that's a message we could all use a little more these days.
Couldn't agree more. Well, I think that about wraps up our deep dive into The Giver.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It's been a great conversation.
Likewise. So until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep those sparks of hope alive.